What's going on, guys? My name is the real Mad Hollow here. So I've got requests from people that generally don't know everything about Dark Souls, especially the beginning, and they want to look up videos on how to get better at the game, but they don't necessarily know how to do it. So they're looking for ways to improve, but without spoiling the game. So what I'm going to do here today is what I like to call the learner's circle. And I'm going to basically just teach you a little bit about the game and understanding. The first thing I want to cover is probably one of the things that a lot of people don't know, and that's understanding the status screen. For those who don't know how to get there, just hit the option button, or I guess the start button for depending on your console, and go straight over to the status screen here and open it on up. In here you can hit the left pad here and hit explanation to understand all the different stats and what they mean. For instance, basic stuff like level, souls, required souls for you to be able to level up. So some of the basic stats in the game would be for instance, vigor, which just basically it says that it governs resistance to frost, but you really don't generally deal with frost unless you're in PvP or certain bosses. But mainly this stat is for HP. There's attunement, which raises your FP, which is basically the mana in this game. It also gives you an extra slots. As you can see, I have 99, and I have about 10 slots over to the very right there. So you can see that. Endurance, which just mainly levels up stamina. It also gives you resistance to lightning and bleed. But again, those are very minute. Vitality, which is just basically so you can carry more equipment. The higher the stat is, the more more your equip load that you get. This is great early on, but later on in the game, I'd say about 40 points after that, it kind of really slows down. I got mine at 55 here, and I'm still at 95 because I have no equipment. I have no rings, no nothing on. So just so you know, these are all face value numbers. Here's strength, which you're going to need a lot of. Basically, almost every weapon uses at least a little bit of strength in some way. Not every weapon, but a lot of them do. Same thing with dexterity. This is another one that you're really gonna need. Also, if you're a spellcaster, having at least 40 strength gives you the maximum amount of reduced spellcasting time, so you can cast spells faster. There's intelligence, which intelligence is mainly for sorceries and for weapons that use intelligence. It can also be used for pyromancy as well. Faith, another thing that also uses pyromancy, but it also uses faith spells, or miracles as they're called. And this is also very, very good for when you combine both these to use weapons with the chaos infusion or dark weapons. You need both intelligence and faith. Luck is kind of like a catch-22, I guess you'd call it. I don't really think that's what it's called, but anyway, what it does is luck's it's a not useful stat, but it's a useful stat. If you're using it to farm for doing certain things, then it's a great stat. There are certain builds that you can use it. It upgrades your ability to cause bleed and your poison capabilities, and then there's certain items and weapons that you can use. But it's kind of a useless stat, honestly. So we're going to go on over here. This is your HP. This is your FP. Stamina, which regenerates. Your equip load, poise. For those who don't understand what poise does, poise is basically it keeps you from getting staggered during attacks and fights. The more poise you have, the harder it is to stun your character or stun lock your character. So the more poise you have, the better off you are. But at the same time, usually poise comes with a high equip load. So usually you're you're gonna fat roll, or you've got to equip items that give you poise without having a heavy equip load. Here is item discovery, which you get again from luck. You can also equip certain items that give you item discovery. And then right here is the attack power. Some call it AR for attack rating, but basically what this is just shows you how much damage you're going to do with a standard R1 or right bumper, whatever kind of controller you're using. But your standard light attack This is how much damage it's going to do before you hit the enemy, before the enemy's defense is applied. So right now it says 187 because I don't have any weapons in my hand. So that's just generally my basic attack power for having 55 strength and 61 dexterity. And as you notice, they're all going to be the same because they're all, you know... So, you know, there's the 3 right-handed, the 3 left-handed. Those can be equipped with weapons or shields, so just be aware of that. Over here to the very right, you have your physical defense and absorption. Right now my absorption's 0. You don't get absorption unless you wear armor. And basically, defense and absorption are like... Defense is basically, what it says there is it says that it's defense against and absorption against the standard physical damage, and defense is calculated by character attributes. But when you equip armor, your defense stat will go up, as well as your absorption stat will go up. But this is mainly just physical damage alone, without any other applied, like anything else. Because if you notice, there's a physical strike, a physical slash, a physical thrust. Because certain weapons are certain things. Like, for instance, spears are usually thrust, or arrows are usually thrust, whereas swords can be slash, whereas hammers can be strike. So, just remember that. The higher defense, the better you're defended against them, but at the same time, absorption also absorbs some of the damage. I know it's a lot to take in, but it's just the way that it is, you know. Most of these are usually based upon... PvP, so you don't have to worry about it too much, because a lot of time against like bosses and things like that in PvE, you're going to be dodging. So magic is defense, or it's defense against magic rather. Same thing with fire, lightning, dark. These are all the main types of damage you can receive. If you get spells cast against you, there's magic. If you have pyromancies, or if a weapon, or if a weapon has magic or fire on it. Same thing with lightning. If you get hit with a miracle that's like, you know, a lightning spear, same thing. And then there's dark miracles and certain dark other spells, as well as weapons with dark infused on them. And that's your defense and absorption against those. Bleed here. Bleed is, you know, your resistance against from, you know, being bled. The higher your resistance and the higher armor that you have against it, you'll have a meter that pops up that basically shows you how much before you get bled. And the way that bleed works is as soon as that meter fills up and it pops, it's going to take away a portion of your health. Poison, when the meter fills up, you're going to be poisoned and your health's slowly going to tick away. There's also another type of poison that's also called toxic. There's no way to protect yourself generally against that. So if you are in an area or if you receive toxic, find a bonfire as quickly as you can, or use there is a purple moss clump with the flowers on it that gets rid of toxic. And if you're in PvP and that situation happens, you're probably usually done. So try not to get toxic. Poison's not so bad, but toxic is really bad. Frost. When you receive frostbite, you lose a portion of your health, and then on top of that, your health your stamina regenerates slower. And then curse is like automatic death. You automatically die. In the old games, when you received curse, you would lose a portion of your health, and then you'd have to go get a stone to get rid of that. But curse in this game is just an automatic kill. And then down here, of course, is your attunement slots. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and just equip some armor so I can show you how your stats go up. By the way, in this screen here, let me go back in there. There we go. In this screen here, if you notice, you can actually look at what weapons and what stuff that you have, so you can generally kind of figure it out. For instance, like the weight and the durability of your armor, the resistances and stuff that it's going to add, what absorption it's going to add. And then on top of that, if you notice, I went from having 121 defense and like 139 magic, and then when you equip, for instance, the Havel set, I went up to 154, I went up to 135, I now have 6% absorption, things like that are added. I actually now have 10 poise, which is really useful. So we'll go ahead and equip the full set here. Havel's is one of the later armors that you'll find. This armor is actually a staple within Dark Souls. So if you don't know this one, just get used to it. Especially if you're going to be getting into PvP. So now my poise is at 50. As you notice, my stats have all rose to 205, 35 absorption. I now have some armor for resistances. And then on top of that, they also added weight. So I'm now a little bit heavier. I'm actually going to show you here. My weight. Go over here. My weight is actually 59 out of 95, or 56 out of 95 now. 56.9. And basically that puts me about, what, I was 60% weight? Almost 60% of my weight. If you go up to 70, you'll be doing what's known as a fat roll. But in general, like I said, it's just showing you like your stats and just understanding. And I'll also equip a weapon real quick so I can show you AR, and just so how AR goes up. So we'll go ahead and equip this right here, for instance. My AR is now going to go up. So for instance, this is a weapon called the Great Sword. It is a ultra great sword. And I had 196. Actually, I believe it's lower than that. Yeah, it's 187. But when you two-handed it, it says for some odd reason, you know, it's 196. But anyway, the main AR now, I will show you, is 859. So as you can see, when you equip stuff, it obviously your stats go up. So that is a general understanding of stats, just a basic understanding. And just a basic understanding of the UI. As you can see now, I'm actually overweight. I'm fat rolling. I'm at 80% weight. That's what happens when you equip Havel's. But that's going to do it for this video. I thank you again for coming to the Learner's Circle and trying to learn a little bit. Hopefully you learned something. And if you guys got any suggestions or any ideas or anything like that, or anything you might want to learn, just go ahead and put it down in the comment section. And I appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Mad Hollow from the Learner's Circle. Bye!